Alexa, does the Mark Twain at Disneyland have an anchor?
I actually don't know. I think if it does, it would probably be
Hey,
accurate.
wait. You know what does have an anchor? Our podcast, because it's on anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's a wonderful way to make a podcast. It has all the tools you need to make a podcast. Woo! Anyway, it's free, so that's a great point. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free, has all the creation tools in one spot. You know, makes it easy to edit it from your computer or your phone. They distribute your podcast for you, so you can find the podcast on Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you make money with your podcast. Like, they find you sponsorships, and with no minimum listenership, you can get paid for making your podcast. So if you want to make a podcast like we are, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You'll love it. I call this meeting to order. Let's recite the pledge. I am a Disney addict, not a normal Disney fan. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself.
Let's just do a podcast.
Okay. All right, well, welcome to the podcast. I'm Chaz with...
Hi, Chaz. Oh.
Yeah, it's a support group, so I guess we should do it that way. I'm Chaz. I'm a Disney addict. I have been since 1986.
When were you born? What
86.
year were you born? Oh, 1986.
So, yeah, my entire life.
Why'd you have to think about it?
Because I'm old. Not really old, but I'm old in the brain where it doesn't always want to function correctly.
Okay.
But we'll get into that later, I guess. And you are...
Alexa.
You've been a Disney addict for...
I thought you guys were going to go, hi, Alexa.
Hi, Alexa.
Well, I've been a Disney addict since 1996. That was the year I was born.
Okay, well, coincidentally, this is...
Taylor, hi!
Just staring blank at the microphone.
Stage fright, I'm sorry. I've always liked Disney, but I officially became an addict when I met my husband, Chaz.
Yeah, so 2016 is really when you became an addict. I mean, you weren't an addict initially when we met, but...
Yeah, that was the first time I went to Disneyland, and that's when everything changed.
You didn't go to Disneyland until 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on our honeymoon, and the very first experience she had at Disneyland was actually downtown Disney, because what happened was we went to Legoland first, and when we got to Legoland, there was absolutely nothing to do for two freshly married people at all. So that kind of ran out after, 15 minutes?
Yeah, we were only
That's
there for
how Legoland is.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, I mean, Legoland's fun.
This podcast is not sponsored by Legoland.
Yeah, it never will be now.
It never will be now.
But, so we left Legoland and just were like, you know what, let's go up to downtown Disney, go to the movie theater there and watch Finding Dory.
Yeah.
And so we get up there and we're wandering around before the movie time and we get to Marceline's confectionery and she just freezes in front of the window and it just won't go anywhere. Excuse that sound in the background. That was our dog. She likes to shake. But she froze at the window and just watched them make confections and was like, this is the most magical thing ever that I've ever seen.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
That was exactly my reaction was, just wait till tomorrow when we go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And, it's
I
been...
do remember that, though. I remember you guys going to Legoland and then going to Disneyland.
Yeah, it's been a ride ever since. I mean, I don't think we got annual passes right away.
We didn't.
But we went a couple more times and then we're like, it's more sensible to get annual passes than to continue buying for day passes. And so we've had annual passes ever since. I had annual passes beforehand, but being a single dude going to Disneyland by yourself in the age before social clubs was not really socially acceptable. So
speaking of social clubs,
yeah,
I was flipping through this book called that Chaz and Taylor have. It's called The Unofficial Disney Parks Cookbook, and she talks about social clubs in there.
Who is she?
Ashley Kraft,
The author.
the author.
What does she say? I haven't really read through the book other than to make a jungle julep so far.
It says today's Disneyland Okay, just kidding. It says today's Disneyland food culture has taken on an even bigger persona, one that has adapted over time. Some food items like Dole Whip have become cult classics and draw extremely long lines and massive online hashtag followings. Social clubs have popped up in the parks, exclusive clubs that have catchy names like Neverlanders and Main Street Elite.
Yeah.
And the Schweitzer Falls Skippers.
We're one of the ones that would be obsessed with pineapple Dole Whip. And if you hadn't caught on...
I'm actually, believe it or not a super big fan of Dole Whip.
Oh, well, I can believe it.
I am a fan, but I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a...
It's not like you have to get it. You have to get like... I have to get a churro every time. I love Dole Whip,
churros.
and Dole Whip really soothes my soul when I'm not at the park. Thankfully, we can get one close by. But if you hadn't caught on, we actually are all in a social club, and this is probably going to be not the last time you hear about it, but it's not going to be the focus of our podcast, is the social club community. There's plenty out there if you want to listen about podcasts about the social club community. We just happen to be in a social club. So let's move on from social clubs. We'll circle back to it and explain it a lot more in a future episode, but we're going to move on to another prompt that Alexa has written down, which
Well,
is...
it was supposed to be a more natural prompt. But when you guys were making dinner earlier and she asked you, Taylor asked Chaz if he had the chicken frozen, and we were before that trying to think of something from our...
Oh, the affirmations
Yeah,
or the pledge?
I think we were thinking of the pledge. And I was like, there's no pledge in Frozen. And then I was like, oh, because she was like, oh, you got it from Frozen, right? And then I was like, no.
For those that weren't here, I was cooking chicken, and Taylor was asking me if the chicken was frozen initially.
Thanks for explaining that way better.
Gotcha.
I am a writer.
She is.
But...
Alexis, how many books have you written at this point?
Oh, gosh. I have Disneyland, 2 Disney World, a Universal Hollywood, and a Knott's book.
Knott's Berry Farm.
A Joseph Smith book, but that's not related.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell, Alexa's written several books, but she might have difficulty speaking at times, which it's okay. We all do.
There's you guys seen A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff?
Yes.
You know when she's doing her stepsister's homework, and she's like, "Can you make it sound more like me?" She's like, "I don't want to have to explain all the time why I sound so smart on paper and so not smart not on paper." And that's how I feel, except it's both me. It's me both times.
Well, at least you're a better writer than you are speaker, right?
Yeah, at least I got something going for me. Unless they just edit it like crazy and they're just like, we don't know why we hired this chick.
Hey, it's all right. You still get a paycheck at the end of the day.
That's true.
So.
That's true.
But anyway, do you have any books coming?
Yes, my
soon?
second Disneyland book is actually supposed to come out at some point when the parks open back up.
All right, which is
who knows?
A quarter past never at this moment, but
I mean, the last report was summer 2021. So
yeah,
we'll see if
but
that actually happens.
that's all still dependent. So
I'm
speaking of dependent, one of the other podcasts that I would recommend is called Disney Dependent. They're another social club. They say that they're not really a social club as much as they just are fools in a vest that want to be social club or something like that. I can't remember exactly how they described it, but they're Team Dynamite Goat. They're hilarious if you want to listen to an actual quality podcast that's, got some days and weeks underneath their belt. Go give them a listen and then come back to us because we'll still be here. They'll also be there after you finish this one, but go give them a listen. You'll enjoy them. They're really funny.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, but it's very enjoyable.
Legit.
But so
not that our sponsors wouldn't be legit. Oh man,
we'll get sponsors eventually. We just not right now. There's more important things than money at the moment, which is more of just support through this hard time of being a Disney addict without having access to Disneyland. There's Disney World, but not everybody can afford that. Or you could do what Taylor and I did recently, which is go to the Disney outlet stores, the Disney store, we live in the Las Vegas greater metropolitan area, and we've gone to every one of them, and in, what was it, a month, we spent over $400 on Disney stuff.
I mean, what else are you going to spend money on?
It was cheaper than a Disneyland trip, but still, it was...
Exactly.
We didn't do the math on it until afterwards, and then went, oh, wow. That's what happens when it's 8 months without Disneyland.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good stuff, though.
It's during the Twice Upon a Year sale, so, like $30 Spirit jerseys. You can't say no to that.
Ooh, that's nice.
You probably could, but then you wouldn't be a Disney addict, so.
I'm saving up for a house. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, we support that, but, you still need your Disney
I'm not really
addiction.
a merchandise person, believe it or not.
I can believe that, but you're more of experiences, like going to the park and learning about different fun facts. Where I like experience. There's let's break down what a Disney addict is, shall we?
Yeah.
Like there's several different types of Disney addict.
You have to give the full definition. It's a noun.
Yeah, it's a noun. But there's those merchandise addicts, and don't get me wrong, you can be an addict in several of these categories. There's the merchandise addict where, you see Spirit jersey, you need that Spirit jersey. There's the pin addicts that, every single pin you need to have. I'm saying this as I'm looking at a 6x4 section of our wall covered in pins.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about that, though, too.
You could be a popcorn bucket addict. You can want to have every single popcorn bucket there is. You can be an atmosphere addict where it's like you just need the feel of the park. You don't necessarily need to take a ride, do any of the shows. Just be in the park. There could be the addict of you have to go on the rides. There's that ride that you can't resist. Every time you go, you have to ride something. Alexa's raising her hand. I personally have never gone to the parks and not ridden the Jungle Cruise. I have made trips where that's the only ride I've ridden. Those are some of the categories that I can think of. Do you have any ideas of like a Disney addict?
You could be like a movie addict.
Yeah, a movie addict. Taylor and I are actually currently watching every film that Disney's ever made from order of creation. We're in 1969 right now, so our next movie is Smith. That's with an exclamation point, which is really hard to find at the moment. We just located it tonight, so hopefully we'll watch it next week. But there's other addicts. Taylor, what do you think of another addict for a Disney addict?
Well, I love the parades and shows. Like, I could not go to the park and not see a show or a parade. Those are my favorites. Every time
the what was it? The Paint the Night parade. Anytime we were there when Paint the Night was on, Taylor would drag me over to California Adventures from Disneyland, knowing that full well that Disneyland at night is my favorite place because the Jungle Cruise is something special and amazing at night, and so is Adventureland. Like, it's like pulling teeth to get me out of there at night. But Taylor would pull me across the Esplanade to DCA and make me watch Paint the Night every time we were there. And that's because it's her addiction. So she was pulling me for my addiction for her addiction. So I guess that's what support groups are all about.
And that's marriage.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell, Taylor and I are married, and Alexa is our friend. So
I'm a third wheel. But it's great. It's great.
We'll find you a fourth eventually when you're ready for it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
we'll leave it at that.
We'll move on. What was that? What else was I going to say? Something reminded me of something.
We were talking about frozen chicken.
No, I'm done with my prompts that I wrote down.
Okay.
There was something else that I actually thought of that was a genuine natural prompt, and now it's so
something to do with addiction, Disney addict.
Gosh, no.
Awkward silences.
No, you said that. Oh, I remember.
Okay.
It was a story. Because you said that the Jungle Cruise is something special at night.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, oh, that's how I feel about Big Thunder.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Big Thunder at night, like, if you ride it during the daytime, it's awesome. I love it.
I gotta do it both.
Yeah. You can't just leave it at just, I rode Big Thunder in the morning time. You can't leave it at that. You have to ride it at night. Mm-hmm. Like the spotlight on the goat. If you know the goat, you know. going into that dark tunnel, the coyote tunnel. That is.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. I miss Disney.
But like,
I need my support.
if you do it in the daytime, that coyote tunnel is just But at night,
I wouldn't say it's
I mean, comparatively, all right. Like the goat's always the goat, but at nighttime,
it reminded me of when we were at Ashley's party. Our friend had a party that was Dia de los Muertos themed. Yeah. And when we were sitting there eating tacos, we were thinking about how it feels like we were at Rancho de Zocalo.
Yeah.
And
I could really go for one of their tostado bowls right now.
I could go for just anything there right now.
Yeah. Anything at the churros. It's been a while since, you know what, it's not been that long, but it's been long enough since I've had a churro. We went in October to downtown Disney and had churros because they were still open. And it was I'm a big, burly dude. Would you stop that? I'm 6'4", pushing 300 pounds, bearded fellow. And I was nearly brought to tears because I had a churro and I was sitting on a bench in downtown Disney with the Disney music playing.
I should have gone with you guys.
It was phenomenal. I was nearly brought to tears. Shoot, I'm tearing up right now. There is something to be said about just the atmosphere of Disneyland. Like,
for sure.
It's something else. But we need to go back. They need to open up the food stands. I mean, I don't even care if I have to buy the churro and leave the area and go to my car to eat it. I need a churro. Like, you can get a churro at Costco or really anywhere.
Or you can make them in the unofficial Disney Parks cookbook, still not sponsored.
But there's something said about getting it at Disneyland. We could go get a Dole Whip right now. It's not a Disney Dole Whip.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just Dole Whip. But if you're not at the park, you're not getting that atmosphere, and it's... Granted, it'll spark those memories and bring back the joy. Like, when we go get a Dole Whip, I'm like, yeah, Adventureland. But there's something different about eating a Dole Whip, sitting there, listening to Rosita squawk wisecracks at you.
I miss Rosita.
There's just something different about that.
I know.
Or just sitting in the enchanted tiki room, eating your Dole Whip, and listening to all the birds.
On a hot summer day, there's nothing better.
Oh, yeah. Well.
You walk in, you see Maynard. If you don't know who Maynard is, he is a legendary cast member. He does Enchanted Tiki Room, he does Haunted Mansion, and he does Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Those are the three places you'll meet him really often. But he is a funny dude and just well known in the Disney community, and just everybody misses him too. But you see him at the Tiki Room, you go get a Dole Whip, and then you just go sit inside and be happy.
Speaking of missing cast members and stuff, are we going to discuss the fact that Joe Rohde retired?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. The most legendary era.
I know it's been a while, but...
It's been like a week. Come on. He officially retired this week.
Oh, well, he announced it a
while
ago.
But I mean, it's officially been like a week.
I'm pretty upset because he didn't fix the dang Yeti, even though he promised.
So, he promised to fix the Yeti, but he might still do that. I saw that they filed a patent for a stabilization for animatronics the other day. I didn't really read all that into it, but a lot of people are speculating that might actually fix the Yeti.
My bladder is too full for this news.
But Joe Rohde retired. He's the second most legendary ear to do with Disney. The first being Mickey himself. The second being Joe Rohde's fantastic
that's
earring ear. That thing is amazing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know who Joe Rohde is,
was I with you guys when I saw him at California Adventure and I tried to talk to him and he didn't hear me? I think he didn't hear me or didn't know I was talking to him or something.
We were there when you saw him. I didn't see him, but you saw him, and we kept on walking and you had disappeared, and that's...
Well, I was in a wheelchair too, so that didn't help. I wasn't able to shout like everyone, "Stop!
Were you...
Joe Rohde is right there!"
Were you there when we saw Tony Baxter?
No.
Oh, he was sitting at...
I would have freaked out about him.
I really kind of freaked out, but like he was already surrounded with people, so I didn't want to approach him because I didn't want to be that guy. But like if he was off on his own, I could be like, "Yo, you're Tony Baxter, right?" I would have done that. But when we walked by, these guys were sitting there and like accosting, like you could overhear them accosting him with ideas of what they think Tomorrowland should be.
Ideas?
Yeah, he's an Imagineer. He doesn't need your ideas. Like if anybody knows what to do with Tomorrowland, it's Tony Baxter.
That actually reminds me of a story when when Cars first came out, the movie.
Yeah.
My dad said, he was like, I give it 6 months before they change Autopia into Cars. And then, a few years later, in 2012, they did Cars Land in California Adventure. And when we walked through it, he was like, yeah, I would have been fired for that idea if I was an Imagineer.
Absolutely.
That was the stupidest idea compared to Cars Land, you know?
And that's the reason that they get paid to do what they do. They don't need you sitting there like, oh, you know what'd be awesome is if we go back and like do another Jules Verne thing. No, most people think that's dumb.
I thought it was
And you know what, though? If Tony Baxter did a Jules Verne thing, it'd be because he figured out how to make it cool.
Right, that's true.
And that's why he's an Imagineer, and we're not.
Speaking of Imagineers, when I was on a church dating app, I matched with an Imagineer, and that was interesting.
Wow.
He was surprisingly boring. I won't say his name. I was like, how do you do what you do when you're so not interesting?
Right? You've got to be interesting to be an Imagineer.
Maybe that's just like where all the interesting energy goes, and then it was just like dead after that. Like, I just couldn't. Maybe that's what it was.
Like when you meet like a famous actor and they're just like deadpan.
Yeah.
Because like all their energy just goes into the personality they put out there.
That might have been it.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you sir out there who had matched with her, she's not talking poorly of you, just she
That'd
is.
Be crazy if he was listening to it and remembered that he matched with me. Like,
yeah. But yeah, Imagineers would be a fun job. When I was in high school, that was one of the things that I wanted to do with my life. I went to school for engineering and architecture, and then I got mad because I was in architecture and I kept on being told that it was now more of a science than an art, even though it was still in the fine art college. And so I got mad and I went to become an EMT. So
then you hated that too.
No, I loved being an EMT. That was fantastic.
I thought you hated it.
No, I hated the hours, but I only left it because I screwed my back up. I would have loved to continue doing that, but it wasn't a career that was long lasting.
Yeah.
It was too physically demanding for a person's back. So those of you out there that are EMTs or firefighters, good on you for being able to turn that into a career. And,
especially right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right now would be a terrible time to continue doing that. I do, however, wish I was still doing that right now. Yeah. It would be... Yeah, that would be fun. Not fun, but like it would be life fulfilling instead of, being told that, oh, we're going to be closed today, so you have to go home and sit on your couch. That's not life fulfilling.
Podcasting is fulfilling.
That is true. We came up with this idea how long ago?
I believe it was
Was it November?
It was November because it was around other times. Other events that were happening.
But yeah, we came up with this idea, got it all set up, and then we just life has been kicking us.
It's January right now when we're recording.
Yeah, so life has been kicking us around, and we finally got time where we can actually set aside and be like, okay, we're recording on this day. We'll see you again next week. Recording on this day. Like we finally got it figured out. And we're here finally. But you had a point that you were going to make.
What?
Something about podcasting. Speaking of podcasting being fulfilling.
Oh, fulfilling, especially if you're in the Disney support group.
Yeah. And being that we're a support group, that doesn't mean that it's just the three of us. If you're listening to this, you're obviously in need of Disney support as well. Feel free to email us at dspodcast@gmail.com. We've also got an Instagram at Disney_support_group. Instagram, obviously. There's going to be a Facebook group and all that other social medias. Yeah, we do have a Facebook group. I can't remember what it is, but we'll plug that in a later date and time. You could probably search for us on Facebook and it'll pop up.
Disney support group.
Yeah, but
podcast.
It might be that, but search Facebook for us. We're really bad at plugging social media because, this is our first time, so it is what it is. Well,
it was my first flight.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's not necessarily our first time podcasting. Alexa and I both used to work on a podcast called Diz Radio. She did
I
Parks
did the news. Yeah, I did Disney Parks News.
And I did, we had a celebrity guest, and I did their bio for a little while, and then we switched it up, and I can't remember what I ended up leaving on, but yeah, we were both on that podcast. I've been on a podcast of my own before. This is, however, Taylor's first podcast that she's going to be featured on.
I was on one episode with Chaz on Diz Radio, and that's all I've ever done.
Yeah.
So I'm very new to this.
And that was like pulling teeth to get her to join me. Oh, I remember what I did. I was Magic Music Review is what I ended off on. And Taylor helped me with one of those segments. But that podcast hasn't happened in a while, and so we've just needed support. So we're here being supportive to each other, and we're probably going to keep this one going rather than...
At least for the first episode.
Yeah, we're at least gonna finish the first episode. Where we go from there, we'll see.
If you're listening to it now, obviously we did that.
Yeah. So. If you see an episode come out next week, we're doing more than we promised.
So true.
But we are hoping and intending to do this on a weekly basis and put it out once a week. We haven't decided.
Need to do it every other week.
Yeah, we might end up doing it every other week. At the moment, we're aiming for every week, but as we said, it took 3 months for us to actually sit down and record the first episode. So
yeah. Don't
hold us to every week. It might end up being every other week, which that's the schedule we'll keep. But we'll figure out a day that we're going to put it out, and every whatever day it is, whatever day you see this was put out, look for it a week from then. If not, look for it for 2 weeks from then. We'll keep it going. But any other topics you have to talk about at the moment?
Not that I can think of.
I mean, it's our first episode, so we kind of are just going off the cuff here. Taylor, you got any ideas?
I think that's part of what we want to do anyways, do off the cuff most of the time.
Yeah, we're not going to really have a script. The only thing that we have a script for is that... Pledge. That's the only script we really have. Everything else is just going to be us talking about Disneyland and our thoughts and our hopes and our enjoyment of it, and whatever we had to do with Disney this week.
I didn't finish my story earlier.
Oh yeah, which one?
The Rancho de Zocalo thing. When we were sitting there, and because they had a mariachi band there, and we were like,
"Oh yeah, that was awesome."
This makes us feel like we're at Tortilla Joe's or something.
And what was even better was it was at night,
right?
And so
then I looked up on YouTube Big Thunder Mountain sounds, and then we crowded around my little phone and listened to it like we were sitting there at Rancho de Zocalo, and that is when you have a problem.
Yeah, is it a problem as much as it is just? It's a problem.
It's a solution. Problem. You're right.
We found solutions to our problems. That's what we did.
Exactly.
And we are justifying, so it's totally a problem. But I think we're gonna wrap it up there. This is just the first episode. Expect longer ones from us in the future when we have more to talk about. But if you have any questions, comments, thoughts,
topics you want us to cover,
things like that, give us an email at dsppodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, we'll see you real soon.